Marriage on the street corners of Tehran is about a woman called Atish, which in Farsi means a sparkle of fire, who was married off at early age of 12 by her father and divorced at the age of 12 and a half. And it's a series of events that happens to her that inspires her to fight injustice against women and biases that she herself faced in life just because she is a woman and also because she is a divorcee. And she goes to University of Tehran with help of her two grandmothers, Grandma Tuba and Grandma Jamile, and her mother. And then the whole series of events start happening in Tehran, and she realizes that she cannot afford to stay at the university and continue to be independent financially from her family. And she comes across this practice which is called sighe in Farsi, and is a type of marriage which is meant for short duration pleasure. And then she goes through a number of marriages, to be exact 10 marriages, and all for to make money. This book mainly is about marriage on the street corners of Tehran, where I am originally from, and it talks about the practice of being married for a short time, for a short limited time. It could be 1 hour or it could be 1 year. And it is sanctioned and encouraged actually by the government in Iran right now. And Shia Muslims, who are main practitioners of this practice, they cite two different verses from the Quran to justify the practice. And of course Sunnis, who are the majority Muslims in the world, that they also cite two verses not to justify such a practice. In 2004, when first I went to Iran to do some research, just to do research about my faith of Islam, to find out more about the practice of Islam, and then to use it as a thesis towards my PhD. I sat in family courts and criminal courts through different court cases, and I talked to men and women, numerous men and women, and I read articles about the practice of this particular type of marriage. And I also came across very male chauvinistic, patriarchal laws that are not only in existence in Islamic courts today in Iran, but they are also sanctioned by the government, and they really affect everybody's life, but in particular women and children. And as an attorney, family law attorney practicing here in Buffalo, New York, I was interested and also touched by certain laws which are being justified under faith of Islam. And being a Muslim Iranian American, I was very interested to know whether these are misinterpretation of certain verses which affect women's lives, especially at the time of marriage, divorce, and custody, and inheritance, and contract, and all those things, and or is it really interpretation, correct interpretation? And of course I wanted to believe that it is misinterpretation, because again, I'm a Muslim and I do want to believe that my faith of Islam, it's a peaceful and just religion, and it is based on social justice, and of course women are part of that social justice. I thought that by writing a novel versus a research-oriented non-fiction, I can tell the truth and I can dramatize it at the same time. And especially because I came to interview and to talk to many of these characters one-on-one, I felt touched by their stories, and I knew that I cannot just write a research-oriented kind of a text, and I needed to give it life, to bring the passion in some of these women that I had met. There are several characters that I like in particular in the book, and one of them is Grandma Tuba, and one of them is Grandma Jamile. Grandma Jamile, it's a fun-loving grandma who was widowed at a very young age of 19, and she raised her children, and she's very independent, and she shows the true spirit of Iranian woman, a strong Iranian woman who does not believe in rituals, and at every opportunity that she gets, she defies the religion when she sees that it is not fair. And of course, the other side of her, which is she's a poet and she's very well read and she loves poetry. And Atish, the main character of the book, she learns how to recite poetry in a Persian way, the way Persians enjoy them. And Grandma Jamila, of course, knows all these poetries from famous poets like Rumi, Maulana Jalaluddin, which is known in the West as Rumi, and from Hafiz and Sadi and Ferdowsi. And Atish learns those poetries and different of kings and of queens. And of course, Grandma Tuba, who appears to be much more religious and more restrict, but at the same time she's a strong Iranian woman, and she wants to help women like Atish. The first husband that she has, of course temporary, is a big Ayatollah Haji, and she learns just about everything that later on helps in life in terms of religious justification from her first temporary husband. It still brings tears to my heart and to my eyes. It really touches me in a very, very negative way to know that my Iranian sisters in Iran have gone through this. I'm hoping that by talking about these practices, we can show that these are misinterpretation of certain verses from the Quran, and therefore should be stopped. I truly believe that Islam is based on social justice and equality. And in 6th century, in mid-6th century, when Prophet Muhammad advocated women's rights, it was unheard of in the rest of the world. That many men and women, Muslim and non-Muslim, whether they're from Iran or they're from here, United States, and also other countries, they have raised awareness about these social injustices that are happening to many Muslim women, not just in Iran, but here in Buffalo, New York. But I think that now we need to do something. We need to really question those misinterpretation parts of a holy book, which again was started to bring equality and social justice. And in practice, that's not happening. If the testimony of a woman worth half of that of a man in criminal courts, and whether they are actually allowed to testify in a homicide case, if the blood money of a woman is half of that of a man, if women at the time of divorce cannot get custody of their children, if a woman loses her entire rights to object to the husband's second and third and fourth marriage, if all these things are happening under the belief that Quran sanctions these, this. I believe that it is not true, and if Muslim women, other Muslim women and men, they believe that these are misinterpretation, then they should do something about it. We should all do something about it. So our young daughters, our grandchildren, our granddaughters will not suffer because we kept quiet and we did not say anything.